Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Power Boost. Today, we are going to talk about the philosophy of thoughts. In the Brahma Kumaris, in the Raj Yoga meditation practices, thoughts play a very important role. And we believe that every moment of our life is shaped by this invisible happening inside the mind, which is our thoughts. And thoughts is what shapes our words, our actions, which come much later. But thoughts are the seed, or they start first, which impacts the words and actions and attitude and behavior and our experience about life. And so, understanding and mastering our thoughts becomes the key to inner peace, the kind of action that we take, and in general, to lead a meaningful life. So, if thoughts is so important, we also have to understand who is it who's creating the thoughts. And in the Brahma Kumaris, we teach this very simple but powerful truth that it is the soul, the living conscient being, who creates the thoughts. Thoughts are not generated just in the body or in the brain. So the brain is like a hardware, but the soul is the software, right? And souls are the thinking ones, the one who understand. They are conscious beings, they're living beings. And thoughts are sort of soul's expressions. So when we forget this, that it is the soul who's generating the thought, then the thoughts become what we call body conscious, or we identify with the body, and thoughts then become negative, they become automatic, they become uncontrolled. But when we remember of who we are, we truly our truth, then we remember that we are souls, and those thoughts become elevated and intentional. So, thoughts are the ones that carry the frequency and the vibration, right? A peaceful thought creates peace in the mind, but a negative thought creates tension and heaviness. So, that is how the Brahma Kumaris explain that one thought can change the state of the soul. Either we can feel very empowered with a thought, or we can feel very drained out. And that is why thoughts are not small or insignificant. Yeah, because many times we feel there are so many thoughts in our minds. And so we don't really realize the significance of each thought. So, what are the types of thoughts? That is more clear in the Raj Yoga teachings. And we put them in three main categories. One is called positive or pure thoughts, which are elevated thoughts. These are noble thoughts. These are based on truth, right? And the other category, the second category, is waste thoughts. So, waste thoughts generally tend to be negative in nature. They are more repetitive, cyclical, right? And they don't feel good inside. And then the third category is necessary thoughts. They are practical thoughts that we need for everyday life. And those are more neutral and useful when we keep them limited. It's generally the necessary thoughts that when we start repeatedly thinking about it become the waste thoughts, right? So Raj Yoga meditation goal is very clear that we do not want to stop thinking. We acknowledge that thinking is a natural function of the brain and the mind, but it is the content of thinking that we have to shift. So, from the necessary, or rather the waste thoughts, how can we shift the content to the more elevated thoughts so that the waste thoughts are reduced and negativity is reduced? So, to give an example, how thoughts can shape our lives is our, how we experience. So if we look at, say, a flower, a beautiful flower in front of us, and if an artist were to look at the flower, they will look at the color of the flower and how they can draw and the curves and all of those things, right? The artistic side of it. But if the same flower is viewed by a botanist, then they will look at the species of the flower and the genetics and all the biology behind it. Whereas a businessman or a flower shop owner, if they look at the flower, then they will look at the value of the flower. They will look at how what kind of you know uh, uh, how long the flower can last and things like that, right? So that they can get more profit out of it. So it is the same flower, but because the awareness that they are in of who they are. If I think I'm an artist or a businessman or a, a botanist, the thoughts are shaped by that. And that's my also shaping my experience, my words, my action towards the flower, right? So, this is how, if we understand that we are souls, and then we generate thoughts based on our truth that we are souls, that's our original nature of soul, is that of peace, of love, of joy, and that everybody around us is equal to us in a brotherly sense. Then we are soul conscious, and the thoughts from this soul consciousness are very elevated thoughts. They are noble in nature, right? As against when we think that I am, for example, in my case, Kanupriya, then that's the kind of thought that I will have. For example, if I think I'm an employee or I am a mother or I am of a particular nationality, of a particular gender, then thoughts are also based on that awareness, right? And that then leads to negativity or some kind of, you know, the experience. So it is really the quality of thoughts that actually depends on the inner state of the soul, what consciousness we are in, what awareness we are in. And so, where is the role of Raj Yoga meditation in all of this? Raj Yoga meditation is a very simple method to train the mind and to refine the thoughts. So, in meditation, what we do is first we step back from the external world where maximum of our thoughts are being created, and we observe our thoughts, and we also you know um, take different topics or themes to create new thoughts, right, which are based on our truth, on that elevated soul conscious awareness. So this is how um, the philosophy of thoughts work in the Brahma Kumaris. And let us now spend a few minutes in experiencing this through a meditation. Let us just take a moment to sit in a good, relaxed position. And as we do that, we make sure that our whole body is relaxed. Mind is alert. And naturally, we are becoming aware of our surroundings, which is in the external world. we take a moment to become aware of our internal world. The internal world is completely based on our thoughts. We observe the thoughts. We are mostly thinking about the past or the future. We accept those thoughts as they are, with an aim to withdraw from those thoughts and to shift the thoughts to something higher, more elevated. The easiest method to make the thoughts elevated is to come into a position that is elevated. We remind ourselves that we are tiny points of light. The soul is a living, conscient being. Soul's original nature is that of peace, love, and joy. Soul's existence is eternal and independent from the body or anything to do with the physical world. That is the truth of all of us. The soul is bodiless. His true home is far beyond the physical world. That position of staying beyond creates the highest awareness and the best quality of thoughts. Those thoughts are based on our truth that is imperishable. One feels full and rich, rich in the heart, rich in the mind, when one connects with truth. Even a few moments of nurturing these elevated thoughts and higher consciousness makes us come back to our original state of being peaceful, loveful, and joyful. So through the next 24 hours, we aim to reconnect to this state of being in an elevated awareness, create the most noble thoughts. Time and again, even if for a few minutes, just training the mind to come back to elevated thoughts. Thank you. I hope you have a very good evening and we'll meet again soon.